That's the easiest for me.
Okay.
Seven minutes. Yeah.
Hari Om and pranams to all the Atmajyotis and salutations to our Sadguru Shri Prabhuji. We shall begin today's session with prayer. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Akhandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hari Om. Welcome all to our today's session. Today's topic is again Prakriyas, and everybody will be presenting one topic, already chosen topic in 7 minutes. Today, I think it's 7 minutes, correct, Alva? 7 minutes through some activity and a story. So I think Shravanji will go first, and Saravananji will be the timekeeper. And Shravanji will begin with the topic Avastatraya Prakriya. Very interesting topic. So
Hari Om.
Shravananji, yeah, timing is started.
Hari Om. So I'll begin with a story of a Zen monk, which you all know, who once woke up and was crying, and all his sishyas came and said, "What happened?" He said, "I dreamt that I'm a butterfly." Now they said, "Okay, if that's fine, it's only a dream." But the Zen master said, "I'm worried. Am I the butterfly who is now a Zen master? Or am I a Zen master who dreamt of a butterfly?" What it means is you cannot tell the difference between a wake up state now and a dream state that existed earlier. We might take the story as something very silly, but if we really understand that whatever state we are in now, do we know the reality of that state? Most of us know that when we are in a particular state, we are completely involved in it. We do not know whether it's real or not. Let's imagine if we were in a movie and we were involved in that movie, something that's happening in the movie shooks us, and we'll be full of those emotions, and we forget that we are actually watching a movie. Why in that state we get carried away with it? What in us is such that it identifies with a state completely and forgets the previous state? So these are questions that we apply several times, but none more than our sleep or a dream or a waking state. So Avastatraya Prakriya is all about how we understand our real selves through the states that we go through every day. These are the three major states that we go through every day, right? Awake state, dream state, and the deep sleep state. In each of these states, when we are in the one state, like awake state, we think the other two states are either temporary or they are discontinuous, or we don't know anything about them. So when we look at the dream state in particular, when we are awake, and right now we are in awake state, when we look at dream state, we have some notions about dream state. But when we are in the dream state, probably we'll have the same notion about any other state other than the dream state. Correct? So this is because the state that we are in is a imposed state. The very word avastha means avastu, what is. Avastu is what is not. It's not a vastu. It's that which is not the substratum. That being imposed on a real vastu, that is avastha. And in that manner, the adhya aropa apavada, which we have talked about, can be used here to say that whatever we think we are in a state is in fact a state that is put on us on something else, on some substratum. So the substratum that we now think is understood when we go into the states of awake state and dream state, compare them, find out that these are temporary states in which we appear to have body, mind, and changing in every state. And in the deep sleep state, we find that these are not there. And therefore, we find deep sleep state as some state in which we know nothing of these objects. But what Vedanta says is whatever you find as some object is not you. And therefore, whatever you find your state in awake and dream states are not you. The deep sleep state in which nothing is visible, that is your real state. Although it appears to be a third state, there is a state in which the dream comes and goes. The awake-like dream comes and goes. And therefore, in these dreams, the times appear at different proportions. The space appears in different proportions. But in deep sleep state, neither the time nor the space is there. It is purely the state where you do not see anything or know anything. So this fundamental key insight is available to us through this three-state analysis, which is a superimposition on a state or a no state called what is that? I forgot. Turiya. So once we understand that there are many yogic practices which tell us that by trying to understand the state behind and try to stick to the state of witness and crossing these states from awake state to deep sleep state, you can yogically catch hold of the real state. And that's how this state is very much used both in yogic prakriyas and also in Jnana Prakriyas of Vedanta. So Avastatraya Prakriya is widely used a Prakriya for understanding the real nature of us. Hari Om.
Thank you, Shravanji, for that good talk. Indeed, Avastatriya is always, we can say that it is the basic thing first when we come to Guruji as from where we start our journey to know who I am. So today, actually, we didn't make any Siddhanti Purvapakshi prior to the class. So it's like open Purvapakshi today. Anybody can ask questions or question. Any one person can ask a question to Shravanji,
Hari Om Shravanji.
including Vaniji. Later, Vaniji will do evaluation.
Is there any one Upanishad which talks about this Avastha-traya Prakriya?
I should have mentioned Mandukya Upanishad, which very extensively talks about it. But that's not the only Upanishad. There are references to this, I think, in Mundaka Upanishad. I forgot another one. Yeah, probably Mandukya is all about this Prakriya. And it also says that these, in fact, there's a logical way Mandukya brings about how these states are in fact that of one entity called Deva, and then says that all these three Devas who are there is from one aspect and one reality. So it's the same Prakriya that's used in Mandukya Upanishad.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Purnimaji, Shravanji, and Vaniji. And
You
I
suggest
think
some
Shravanji,
activities to explain this Prakriya?
So I was talking about a Vedic Prakriya that I've learned. See, one way of understanding deep sleep state or a dream state is, as mentioned by some Sadgurus, if you deeply get involved in a nama and keep repeating the nama when you try to go to sleep, then the consciousness of yours tries to center on that nama, and from the awake state, a part of your consciousness is, when it still sticks to the nama in your subconscious, at that time, if you go to sleep and the dream state comes up, you clearly see with the help of this nama that this dream is something similar to the awake that you had. And if you go further, even when you're sleeping, your consciousness is aware that there is a nama going on, without you knowing that. Even when the mind is not there, your consciousness keeps on to that nama. And when you are coming back from the deep sleep into the awake dream state and awake state, you then know the falsehood of all these dream and awake states and the reality of the awake state. So this is a yogic prakriya, which is advocated by some of the yogic Sadgurus who have this, based on this knowledge that the real, the original consciousness, which is not the Chidabhasa, not the reflected one, can be affected by this nama, and you can get to that and understand that consciousness by keeping this nama on your subconscious while you go to sleep and while you cross the states. So this is one of the Prakriyas that is very strongly advocated for, especially those who want to have a kriya based on this. Although the knowledge, the yukti prakriya, which is to say, to compare the states, how you lose the time and how times are different, how therefore how time is not there, space is not there. These are logic based. They are also yogic based on the same prakriya.
So you are using the nama like an anchor.
Like an anchor, which is in Jnana Yoga, it is the Jnana is kept as an anchor.
Anchor.
Whereas in this, it is the nama which is kept as an anchor.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Also found that vastu very interesting.
Yeah.
yeah.
Very,
Shravanji,
very insightful. So,
can you do self-evaluation, and later I think Vaniji will do.
Sure, sure.
Yes, actually, activities and the references like this, whatever questions you have asked, I should have included, but it's still thanks for completing those aspects. And it's a very simple prakriya. I hope you all liked it, and
Yeah,
there's
thank
no
you.
special effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Vaniji?
Yeah, so I think it was a very clear exposition, bringing out all the salient characteristics of Avasthatraya Prakriya. And maybe some other story also could have been thought of, because this is something which is there in Prabhuji's talks, and Prabhuji has used it many times. So that was an option also, that you could come up with some other story. But it was a very appropriate story, no denying that. And I like the explanation of the whole thing about Vastu. Like I said, it brings a completely different, more clarity on the whole thing, about how something is a superimposition and it doesn't even exist. So I loved the explanation, and the yogic prakriya also is an interesting example of an activity. So thank you, Shravanji.
Thank you, Vaniji, Shravanji. And next speaker, I think we'll go on to Shobhanaji. Are you ready? Yeah. So Shobhanaji will be speaking on the topic Mokshabhyudaya.
Hari Om. Gurubhyo Namaha. Guru Padukabhyam. We have heard Ramayana in and out many times. Here, I want to speak about this session where Rama is called for sending him off to Vanavasa. He comes there and he comes to know that he's being sent off to Vanavasa, and there is no reaction. He accepts it. All that he thinks is to keep up the word of his father. So the action plan for him unfolds and says, this is the way I'm going to go through the 14 years of Vanavasa, and accepts it without getting angry. He is in such a balanced state. And that's how he goes forward and takes up the Vanavasa. Similarly, we can also take the story of Dharmaraj, that is Yudhishthira. So many things happen in his life, but he keeps calm. He advises his brother to be calm and go through everything in a very calm and quiet manner. Personally, he is in a very, very calm and balanced state. So we heard the story of Yudhishthira when he takes up the path for taking up moksha. He is the one who reaches the heaven first. So unless he had this antakarana shuddhi in his every action, every karma he did, he wouldn't have reached that balanced state. So, in Mokshabhyudaya Prakriyas, Chitta Shuddhi in every action of us is very, very important. Especially for us who are in this Jnana Marga, Antakarana Shuddhi, Chitta Shuddhi has to happen to move forward for attaining moksha. So, how does this Chitta Shuddhi happen? The first and the foremost prakriya is sadhana chatushtaya, wherein viveka, vairagya, shat sampatti, and mumukshatva are included. So all these things step by step, when they happen, the cycle of karma starts breaking up. Viveka is discrimination. Real and unreal things we will be able to make out. Then Vairagya is dispassion. Not getting very happy, nor saddened by things that happen. And we take it as it comes. Not getting attached to anything. Acceptance happens. Then sadhana, in sadhana chatushtaya, we have this Shat Sampatti. Shama, Dama, Titiksha, Upurati, Shraddha, Samadhana. Shama is calming the mind and keep going. Next is Dama. Dama is the sense organs are controlled by the mind. A sort of give and take is established where the mind is able to control the sense organs and make them go internal. Then titiksha, endurance, strength, in whatever happens, ups and downs, you are strong and you come out much better. Then upurati. Upurati is being happy and peaceful in whatever you are doing, not falling back and feel bad about it. Anything for yourself or anybody, equally, you do the work with that kind of happiness. Then Shraddha and Samadhana. Shraddha is faith in whatever you are doing. And Samadhana, being in a balanced state. When this thing happens, when these things fall in place, then there is a desire for attaining moksha, which gets established in the person who is in the Jnana Maya. So, that is the time when the Sadguru's coming happens into the life. That's when Jnana, the path of Jnana opens up for a person who wants to go in the moksha marga. With Agamana of Sadguru, there's so much of Jnana being imparted to you. Like our Guruji explained so many things, the nitty-gritties and smallest of the things are explained to us. Then what do? We have to be in a Sharanagati state and follow that shloka which has been given in Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, 38th shloka. Tatvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadeshyanti te jnanam jnanina. The last word I forgot. So, we need to be in a state of Sharanagati to understand the Jnana and have the grace of the Guru. Then whatever he tells us, we need to get into the Prakriya of Shravana, Manana and Nididhyasa, which we are all doing. The AVSC sessions are a great Prakriya for all of us to follow this Jnana Marga and finally get into a moksha state with Nanu Nanembudu Nanalla, Ideha Manabuddhi Nanalla, Sachidananda, Shivananu Nane, Shivoham, Shivoham, Shivoham. The Sakshi Bhava is the state where we reach not having any body-mind complex relationship. Neti, neti, with neti, neti. All these things help us reach this state. So every step we take here takes us towards moksha. Thus, moksha abhyudaya prakriya. There's one more we can include in this, that is self-inquiry, which is totally another prakriya where we question, who am I? Then get established in the abidance and look at everything in Sakshivam. Hari.
Thank you, Shobana ji, for that wonderful talk. And I think you have overshot by a minute or so. So, yeah, Purva Pakshis, all are Purva Pakshis today. Anybody can ask a question to Shobana ji, and then later you can go for a self-evaluation. Anybody has any question? I think Vani ji also can ask before evaluation.
I had no idea what was moksha abhyudaya prakriya. So thank you.
Yeah, even I didn't know much about it.
Jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha.
Can you tell us the meaning of the word Abhyudaya?
Abhyudaya is to improve our chances of getting into moksha. Abhyudaya. Increasing.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
I'm unable to hear. There's
Vani ji, I think frozen.
Yeah.
Hello? Freeze
Looks-
aitala?
I think so. I couldn't hear.
I think I had logged out. I was logged out for a minute. Probably my internet problem.
Frozen for a while.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a very nice answer. Thank you, Shobana.
So no questions?
I think that's it. Maybe she could do self-evaluation. If anyone else
Yeah,
has a question, then
self-evaluation.
I think when compared to last time, this time I was more confident, and stepwise I went exactly as I thought I should go. So that was it. Only mistake that happened was I forgot about the Upadeshanti te jnanam, jnanina tattvadarshina. That last word I forgot. So it's all grace. I could do it in a planned way.
yeah, I think Shobana, you're back in form now. So that was a very nice talk. And so many different prakriyas of how to progress towards moksha, increase your chances of attaining moksha, like you said, Abhyudaya. So moksha, Abhyudaya, prakriya, very nicely explained. Also the way you began with the Rama, that was also a good start. Immediately made us start listening to what you were saying. So only maybe you did not need to go so extensively into sadhana chatushtaya. Because for this audience, everybody is already very familiar. So if you had just quickly brushed past that, you might have had more time to elaborate some of the lesser known prakriyas. That's only just a suggestion, but otherwise lots of clarity and excellent talk.
Actually, sadhana chatushtaya, I myself did not have proper clarity.
I see.
So I thought if I explain it here, the clarity will be much more.
Then it's a good idea. Good thing that you did.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Vani ji, Shobana ji. So our next speaker will be Purnima ji. She will be speaking on Karya Karana Prakriya. So the timer started.
Hey, don't start. Wait, I'm sharing screen.
Okay, wait. Pause.
Okay. Hari Om. So there are many things that can be said about Karya Karana, many angles with which one can approach this particular topic. But I have decided to stick to one and see how that can be applied for a mumukshu. So the study of cause and effect. So there are some characteristics of Karana, which is cause, and Karya, which is the effect. Number one, Karana is one always. The effect can be many. For example, gold. The standard example in Vedanta is gold and gold ornaments. So gold is one and gold ornaments can be many from the same substance. And Karana has to be Nitya. It has to be eternal. It has to be unchanging. Whereas the Karya, the effect, the cause is always Nitya and the effect can be changing. Like a bangle can be turned into a necklace and vice versa and many such things. I'm going very quickly because aware of the ticking time there. Yeah. And the cause is the essence all the time. These are the parameters we need to apply when we are deciding what is the cause and what is the effect, right? The Karana has to be, is the saram, the essence, the substratum. And the Karya is immaterial. Why? If you have to take your gold ornaments for, to the jeweler, he will not see the shape and size of the ornament, rather the gold is valued, not the form and name. That is the Karya, the effect has only very limited value. It's immaterial, incompetent, immaterial, irrelevant, as the Perry Mason would put it. And then the Karana is Satya, always. And Karya is Mithya. Why? The effect can cease to be. The form of the gold ornament can cease to be. But still the easiness is always there. You take any substance on earth, anything on earth. The form, the name and form, even if it's destroyed, the Sat aspect of it is always there. So this is the basic, 4 parameters that you can apply to. With the example of gold and gold ornament, we can. So how do we apply? How do we extrapolate it to the next level? Let us see the world, Jagat, Brahman. Okay, Brahman is the Karana and Karya is the Jagat. So Brahman is one. We know, by now we know that Brahman is one. We don't have to go into how did we arrive at that. And then Karya, Brahman is Nitya and Karana, this Karya is Anitya, changing all the time. In several ways it is changing. Day and night is just something I have written just off this thing. It's changing all the time. Nothing ever stays the same. Brahman is the essence and the Jagat is a dependent reality. It's the reality. The Brahman is the reality and this is a dependent reality. Because without consciousness, nothing of it exists. Without Satyam Chit, there is no Karya. And then, Brahman is the Satya and the Jagat is Mithya. Because name and form can cease to be same logic. So all that is generally not needed to explain too much of it. Because like as Vaniji said, this audience will know all about this. So what have we established through this Prakriya of, comparing all the parameters, applying it to gold and then applying it to the world? We have established that Brahma, Satya, Jagat, Mithya. Okay, fine. So what? What does it do to me? How will it help me? If I understand that Brahma, Satya, Jagat, Mithya, what is the problem? The thing is, in life, all of us, most of us understand scientifically also the law of cause and effect. We know where there's an effect, where there is smoke, there cannot be smoke without fire. We know. When it comes to karma and karma phala, also we understand something, but that understanding is wrong. I think that I am creating karma and I am going through the karma cycle. Because of my actions, I am reaping the papa and punya, the effects, and going through the life cycle of the world. See, what we have to understand here is karma and karma phala is not connected to actions at all. Rather, it is connected to jnana and ajnana. What is the correct? When we correct the ajnana that I am the creator of all this, this miserable body mind entity is causing all the actions in the world, and therefore I am caught in this cycle. That is ajnana. That is the one which is creating the problem here. Whereas the jnana is, as our Prabhuji tells us, Nanu Nanembudu Nanalla, I am Brahman. That is the jnana. So with this prakriya, when I apply to my body-mind entity also, I come to know that it is mithya, it is unreal, it is changing, it is of no essence, it is of immaterial, because, the substratum that is me is always, nitya, like Shravanji. And how do I arrive at that? That is another prakriya. Several, like avasthatraya prakriya is there to arrive at that conclusion. So the cause and effect is relentless. This irrespective of one's beliefs, this is the truth. So only the jnana will get us out of this karma and karma phala ka chakkar. Ultimately, this will end in only one conclusion, deeper conclusion, that Brahman, which is me, is beyond karya and karana also. Karya, karana, vilakshana, Brahman, says Mandukya. So yeah, there are several things about this, but I didn't know from where to approach, what to do. So I thought you apply the parameters of karya and karana and end up with saying that I am the karana and not the karya. Thank you.
Just on time. You finished it. Yeah. Thank you, Purnimaji. And yeah, questions can be asked. Shravanji.
Yeah, it's not a question, but observation when you're talking about karana is one and karya are many. I remember this phrase about, the death of Karna had many karanas, which may not be applicable.
Exactly. Actually, if I had time, I would have recalled my own story to illustrate that I was running behind the karana for my, I have a autoimmune condition called rheumatoid arthritis. So when I first started, I went to the allopath. He said, oh, that's because you have an autoimmune condition and he'll treat the condition. And then when I went to a homeopath, he said there are some salt, salt imbalances in you. Therefore, that was being treated. That was the karana at that stage. Then I went to an Ayurvedic physician. One more karana, you have got a vata personality. That's why you have got. So the karana kept changing. Yeah. Whereas the karana is that which does not change. So that was one story I wanted to recall, but the time was ticking.
So there also we are going behind the false karanas.
False karanas.
That is also something to learn.
Yes, false karana.
Good that Shravanji brought out this point. See, she could illustrate some one example at least.
So is it the acceptance that this is there?
What
has changed?
No.
That pain.
Is that the body, the BMI, that is subject to all sorts of karyas, and I have got nothing to do with it. It is subject to change, and it is wrong to change. It is good to treat the condition, but wrong to change, chase behind, wrong to. Yeah, there's one more fellow who told me that I have a psychosomatic disorder, that I have to change my mind. I have got some resentment, some stored up emotions, which all have to release. So how much, can you go on layers and layers? You go on peeling the onion, and finally the only real answer is, Aray Baba, this keep going on. Let it be. You are nothing to do with it. You are the unchanging entity behind all this. That's the only way you can make peace with the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go for self-evaluation, Purnimaji. Then later Vaniji will do the evaluation.
It was a very, very hurried presentation. So that is my only peeve. Yeah. That's all. I don't know if I made any.
Nipa, could you suggest some activity for this Prakriya?
Activity, the whole thing was an activity only, no? To apply the parameters to gold and then to Jagat and then to one's own self. That itself is an activity, right? I don't know. I can't think of any other activity.
Okay. Or a story, maybe.
The story was mine.
Yeah, that is also a nice story.
Yeah. Actually, to be very frank, it completely, I was not aware that it had slipped my mind that I had to include a story and an activity and all that. So I just converted whatever.
Right, there was a lot of clarity. Your presentation was excellent. So we got a very good idea of what is the Karya Karana Prakriya. The entire thing about Karya being, Karana being the essence and Nitya and changeless, etc., substratum. And Karana is many and it is a superimposition, it is a manifestation, appearance, etc. It came out through very well. So that part is great. So just because today's exercise was that, so I'm just asking. Otherwise, no need to ask any such thing. So by activity, what we originally had in mind when the syllabus was set was, like Prabhuji says, for instance, where does the forefinger end? It begins here, but where is the end?
Okay.
So some activity which is not Prabhuji's activity,
Okay.
which we could come up with on our own,
Okay.
which will illustrate our Prakriya. Maybe we could put that to the next session also. I think next session also there is one on Prakriya.
Oh, it's actually in the next session only.
That studying Prabhuji's Prakriyas is in the next session. I think today was to bring our own story and our own Prakriya.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay.
That's fine.
Actually, even I didn't know this.
Even
the focus was just on the creation of
So
a
we can
Prakriya.
push it to the next session. Anyway,
let's do that. That
syllabus
will be
can be
fun.
flexible. So we are not some university imposing this exam has to be answered in this way, nothing like that.
That will be fun, to make up our own activities fun.
You can refer to Prabhuji's Prakriya, any one or two, and then maybe make up your own Prakriya to fit the framework. And one story which has not been narrated by Prabhuji to fit that Prakriya.
Next.
It could be fun to do that.
Okay, done.
But great presentation.
Thank you.
Purnima.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Thank you, Vaniji, Purnimaji. Yeah, even I felt that when she showed that PPTs, that itself can be taken as activity because she is showing something. But as you mentioned, application to ourselves like that one type, like, or maybe telling the audience something like that. Yeah, we can bring it up in the next session. Sure. Yeah, the last speaker for today, Mr. Sarvananji.
Yeah.
And he has chosen the topic Srishti Pravesha. You're sticking onto the same topic? Yeah, you can keep the timer and start.
Yeah, just before starting, to be honest, the Prakriya was a lot more deeper topic, and I learned a lot of new things, so I couldn't get into the activity part. This itself, I felt was a good run-up. So that's where it is. Let me start. Hari Om. Pranams to Guruji and all the Atmajyotis present here. So
you'll start the timer also?
Yes. I was trying to cheat. Yeah, so the topic for the day for me is Srishti Pravesha Prakriya. So I will start with a small note on Prakriya. like how different it is from Kriya. So Kriya refers to any activity done for the material benefit, right? Through Kaya, Vacha, Manasa, Buddhya, right? While Prakriya is something which is done for a higher purpose, for God realization, right? Realizing the self. And more specifically, it refers to the teaching methodology that is used to achieve this purpose. And in Vedanta, the Prakriya that is used is Adhyarupa Apavada. So what does this mean? What does it stand for? So Adhyarupa stands for superimposition and Apavada stands for negation. What is this? Any seeker, when they start, before they come into this Vedanta to know the real knowledge, they have a common knowledge, which is usually superimposition of the unreal over the real. So Vedanta says, you know what, accepts the seeker. Okay, come with your superimposition. And then systematically breaks, negates each and every concept they have, which are based on the beliefs, which are without verification, right? Every belief without verification, it breaks down. And then finally to show the real, what is real about it. Right? So in this topic, in the talk, I will use Srishti Pravesha. Srishti is the creation and how God comes in the creation, right? So any creation starts with a creator and nimitta karana and material use upadana karana to create. Right? Example being a potter uses clay to make a pot. Right? In this case, if you see, there is a potter and clay. They are two different things. Okay. There is another example where a spider uses its own saliva to create a web. And here what we can see is the creator and the material used are one and the same. Right? So now this becomes very important to understand our creation. Because what is the common knowledge to start with, and so that I can negate it? The common knowledge is I am this limited being. I am different from this world and the God. God created this world and me. Right? And all three are very different. And I get my joy and happiness and sorrow from this world. Right? Now, let's take the first one, right? God and the world. How the superimposition here is they are two different. And since the concept of God or Ishvara here is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, right? If God is there everywhere, there cannot be a different material other than God, which means the example which we can apply here is the spider. So, so the way what we learn from Vedanta is Ishvara uses his own power of Maya and creates his Panchatatvas, Panchabhutas to create the world. And as Purnimaji explained with the Karanakarya, the ornament made of gold by essence is still gold, right? Same way, the world then which is formed out of Brahman has to be, the nature has to be of Brahman. And why is it like does it look different from the so-called God who is like ever powerful? Because it's just that appears to be a changing, while if you go deep down, it finally boils down to energy. And energy is again nothing but Brahman. And as energy flows from one form to another, you see the world appearing and disappearing. Right? Now coming to the self, right? Why am I like not like God? Right? Again, there's the superimposition here is like the body mind is applied over the real essence, which is the Atman. Right? And through other Prakriyas, through the Atma Vichara Prakriya, one is able to establish that you are in a sense that Brahman only, but not this body mind. Okay? So coming back to our Srishti, then like how did this world create? Right? So this is where for an entry level seeker, this Srishti Drishti Prakriya or Srishti Drishti Vada is being used, where the world was created and then like the seeker comes to see this world and thinks that the world was always there, will be there even after this seeker goes away, right? And the example, the explanation given is, it is the same Brahman who created this world through his reflection of the nature of the Brahman, which is consciousness over mind, resulted in these different beings, and they appear different based on the different proportions of the essence, which is Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Okay. So the more importantly, as we establish this, it takes to the next level where it's the Drishti Srishtivada, where it says, like, you know what you see, it is basically the projection of the mind itself. It is not apart from the mind. And the example given is like in the dream, like you are able to you create a world and you experience it, right? So it moves away from this created to the individual appearing to the individual creating the world itself through the projection, through the mind, right? And then takes to the final biggest teaching where it says, it's the Ajatavada, where it says, you know what, there was never a creation at all. The secret is there is no creation. And what happens? What do you mean? What is the world I'm seeing? It's just a dream. Right? The way how one came out of this dream from in the Avastatriya Prakriya is given, like to see that, no, whatever I experienced wasn't the dream and it is not real. The same way, when the seeker is able to come out of this dream from this waking state, and that happens only with the help of a Sadguru through the teaching of Atmajyana and Brahmajnana, right? One can actually establish it. So this way, basically, this Adhyarupa Apavada breaks each and every superimposition with the negation to establish the real knowledge. With that, I will close my talk. Hari Om.
Thank you, Sharvanji. So you could not cheat. So that was
I
really
had to
nice.
adjust my talk according to the clock.
Yeah, no, even this Prakriya was a little new to us. Even Guruji hasn't spoken much about it, and you have done really some research on
I wanted to pick something
that. Yeah,
different
any
from what
questions
I
for
have learned.
Sharvanji? Yeah.
Sarvananji, it is also said that entire creation, the universe, is taken as a superimposition on Brahman himself.
Hmm.
So, how do we negate that?
So what we see as the world is basically a superimposition on Brahman. Okay, and the way we negate is, if you see all the world, basically it keeps changing, and change, if you see, it can be seen as a change of energy. So if you break down everything, it's the panchabhutas, and like if you further break it down to molecules and atoms, finally the material disappears and wave comes. It is energy form, right? It is just this energy movement, and energy is Brahman again. Okay, so what it's basically, the energy is the screen on which this world is projected, and Ajnani sees the movie running, while Jnani with the knowledge sees the screen behind. Right, so
Yeah, actually, it is the atomic and the subatomic particles and energy released, and
finally,
that's Parabrahman.
Thank you, Sharvanji. You can go for a self-evaluation. Then Maniji will do the evaluation part.
Yeah, I would say I'm not sure if I would have been able to explain it to someone without a background of what, with my talk. I think I would have struggled to put it very clearly to someone without the background. So maybe with the audience, you may be able to, as they say, right, even if there are spelling mistakes, one can read it very clearly if you know. So I did jump in few places, as I felt like initially I took time to explain, set the stage. in the middle, I had to jump, and then I wanted to finish with that last two. Yeah, I feel like still it's a challenge for me to pack it in that 7 minutes and deliver it crisp. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. I just
Yes.
enjoyed the
Ramanand, it
process.
was a very systematic approach because you began with what is a prakriya, and then you said adhyaropa apvada is the main kind of prakriya that we use, and then you went on to your particular prakriya. So I think there was clarity, and the approach was very systematic, logical, and even the examples of potter and pot where upadana and nimitta are different, and then you came to the spider example, then you came to the Ishvara and Jagat. So I think, and you brought in Maya into the equation. So one by one, I felt very systematically dealt with. A very good job in 7 minutes. So you don't have to think, did I do a good job or something? It was a very good
really fascinated by this Adhyarupa Pavada. I didn't understand, what happened is we had finished this without knowing this methodology. In our ABSC, we have been going through Aprokshanubhuti, and I think sometime back we had concluded that it's a projection and there is no real Srishti. But then now when I came to know about this technique, then I had to go back and apply it and bring it to the same way to explain. But it's nice to know, actually.
Yeah. You dealt with one Adhyaropapada from one angle. You said the conditioning of the seeker is assumptions or belief systems are questioned, unquestioned beliefs are removed one by one. That is one way to look at it. The other way is that it is a teaching methodology. Where because the Shishya cannot be, if the ultimate truth is revealed to the Shishya at the outset, he will reject it. We say throw the baby out with the bathwater. So it seems so unreasonable to him. He will say, Arey, this is nonsense. So because of that, at whatever level the Shishya is, the Sadguru will come down to that level, give him a truth which at that level seems acceptable to him. And then when the Shishya evolves enough to start questioning that, he will contradict that truth and replace it with a higher truth. And so step by step till the ultimate goal is reached. So it is a teaching methodology systematically used by Vedantic teachers from the beginning. So that is another way of looking at Adhyaropa.
Only actually
what is happening is that the conditioning of the Shishya is being removed in the process.
Yes. Actually, this I learned only through this preparation. Otherwise, I was putting all the concepts and wondering every concept is true. Then one is contradicting the other. Only during this preparation, I realized that Prabhuji had this slide where remove that step. As you climb up, remove that step. Right? Don't mix one with the higher one with the lower one. Right? So that helped me clarify, okay, what it means. Right? At different levels, different explanation is being given very nicely. Yeah.
Excellent. So very good talks. All talks were excellent.
Yeah, just Sarvadanji. If you have a chance, look at this Aitareya Upanishad. Aitareya Upanishad is a perfect example for the Srishti Pravesha. In fact, it begins with Brahma made this man this way, this, and finally entered through his head. But if you follow the Upanishad, at the end of it, what it proves is Brahman is nothing but just awareness, Prajnanam Brahma. It establishes that. But the method is beautifully, as she was saying, Vaniji, initially it looked like very much our normal view of Brahman creating human and entering into it. But when the Upanishad progresses, finally it says there is nothing other than just awareness. And it is the degree of awareness that traveled through all this.
Through all this, okay. Okay. Okay.
Yes, it's a very good, interesting thing.
Okay.
Now that you understood the thing, if you have a time, please go through
Okay, sure, sure.
Aitreya Upanishad.
Okay, okay, good. Yeah, sure. I got some reference for this talk from Ramana Maharishi's teaching also. He had used this, which made sense to me, like which helped me actually build the concept of how the Srishti, from the usual creation of all these different beings, to finally, like, there's no Srishti.
In fact, I was just thinking entry and exit, Pravesha Nirgaman.
Yeah, exit also happened.
Okay, so very nice. Thank you, Vaniji, Sharvananji. We have come to the end of today's session. Let's close with a prayer and then we can just have a brief talk about the next topic. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrutyorma Amrutangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Antarjyotihi Bahirjyotihi प्रत्यग्ज्योतिः परात्परा ज्योतिरेव ज्योतिः स्वयं ज्योतिः आत्मज्योतिः शिवोऽस्म्यहम् ॐ ನಾನೆಂಬುದು ನಾನಲ್ಲ, ಈ ದೇಹ ಮನಬುದ್ಧಿ ನಾನಲ್ಲ, ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದ ಆತ್ಮ ಶಿವನಾನು ನಾನೇ, ಶಿವೋಹಂ ಶಿವೋಹಂ ಶಿವೋಹಂ. ಆತ್ಮದರ್ಶನಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮದರ್ಶನಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮದರ್ಶನಂ ಸತ್ಯದರ್ಶನಂ ಸತ್ಯದರ್ಶನಂ. ಲೋಕಾಃ ಸಮಸ್ತಾಃ ಸುಖಿನೋ ಭವಂತು, ಲೋಕಾಃ ಸಮಸ್ತಾಃ ಸುಖಿನೋ ಭವಂತು, ಲೋಕಾಃ ಸಮಸ್ತಾಃ ಸುಖಿನೋ ಭವಂತು. ಹರಿ ಓಂ ತತ್ಸತ್. ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುಚರಣಾರ್ಪಣಮಸ್ತು.